good afternoon. Thanks for joining us here today. My name is Alex Drost. I'm with Sparkhound. I'm joined by a couple folks here today. First, Matt Meyer. Hey, Matt, how are you doing?
Hey, doing well. With me, as always, is Alex.
That's me. Joining us today, a new friend of ours, Alexandra. How are you, Alexandra?
Hey, I'm fine. I'm fine, and I'm in Spain, so I'm in the other side of the world, and it's the afternoon for me.
That's great. Well, hopefully you are happy to get off work here in short order. Let's just start with a few introductions. Matt, would you mind introducing yourself real quick?
Sure. My name is Matt Meyer. I am the Director, Technology Evangelist for Sparkhound. Kind of a funky title, but really what I do is I talk to businesses and people and do some advice on technology to use and what might be a great place to be.
Alexandra, how about yourself?
Okay, so I'm Alexandra Spalato. I'm a developer relation engineer at StoryBlok, which is a Headless CMS. So what is developer relation? I'm a developer. I've been freelancing many years with first WordPress, Headless WordPress, and now StoryBlok. And as a DevRel, I communicate about technology to developers. So in the middle between developing and communicating, speaking, writing, etc.
Thanks, guys. So today we are here to talk about old things, old websites, things that need to be updated, ugly things that we see on a day in and day out basis, especially us as a sales organization. We look to see many partners and customers, and we're often thinking, oof, that's rough. And oftentimes many of our customers reach out to us and they say, we need help in fixing this. So let's just kind of start about the state of things today. Matt, maybe we'll start with you. Tell us about kind of where we are today in 2023 with old content that is out there on the web.
Yeah, so you have a lot of companies who initially jump onto the web as being, hey, we need a website. So they get together and they put something together on maybe WordPress, where Alexandra has been. Something that's no code, something's relatively easy. They set up some static pages and they kind of forget about it. So that's really where a lot of companies begin their journey and where they are right now.
And Alexandra, this is often difficult to update, right? Like this is kind of a big task for people just to kind of take on from scratch, correct?
Yes, of course, because if you go with no-code solutions, it's nice because, okay, you don't know how to code and drag and drop, etc. But then if you want to make something different, you are locked in a system and you cannot change it easily. So it's not what you win in easiness, you lost it in flexibility and in changes and updates. And
yeah, that's a good point,
Alex.
That's a good point, Alexander. That flexibility with a no-code system is really something that limits people. You know, you have kind of just one or two styles of pages that you can go on, and you're limited to the widgets that you drop on. So yeah, that's a good point.
I have to imagine this is expensive, right? As well, just to try to fix these things that are out of date.
Yes, because you are locked in these systems, and to make these changes is hacking the system. It make it clunky, etc. And you have to hire new developers, perhaps that you don't know, instead of having people in house that build something from scratch that you really want and make it as flexible as you want. And I know it because I began like that, and I went into coding because I was frustrated. So that's my real story.
Sure. Yeah, and you know, for people who are trying to take this on themselves, Matt and Alexandra just alluded to it, but can you tell a little bit, like, you know, if let's say, you know, my company wants to bring on people to do it themselves, like how hard of that is, you know, what's the market like? Is that hard to find these people? Like, who's going to be doing these updates?
Yeah, so that's a good point, Alex. So for low code systems, for the most part, it's relatively easy. You don't need a whole lot of training in order to do that. You do, though, need to create new pages each time. You don't necessarily have something that you can just simply update a content and move on. You have to get in and edit the page and do a number of things. On the one hand, it's very easy, but on the other side, as Alexandra said, it's not very flexible. If you have something else, so if you have a more traditional CMS system where you do have a layout page and something to update that particular piece of technology, it takes someone who is knowledgeable in that particular piece. So it's very hard to find these people that not only know the development technology, but also know the individual CMS or individual system that you're working in. As Alexandra said, this can be very costly to find that person, especially because their talents may be in demand, or it's just there aren't very many people out there that do it.
Yes. Sorry.
No, please go ahead.
Yes, I wanted to confirm because when you are a developer, you like to work from scratch and you don't want to fix this little piece and hack this code that was not done for that. Even when you work in WordPress, I've been a WordPress developer, but I was liking to build things from scratch, not to hack a theme or something that is built by somebody else and make a sort of Frankenstein monster with a multi-purpose themes and that is slow, and so it's hard to find people that have these two specialties. That's the problem.
It's funny. It's funny. Hacking. That's something that I laugh at because that's something that I've done in not only WordPress and these no-code, low-code environments, as well as in traditional CMSs. You try to find little areas that you can inject JavaScript or something like that to make a change, and it blows up on one page and works on another.
Yeah.
It works in Chrome, but not naive, and that kind of thing. So yeah, that's also you can really break things.
Yeah, so it worked here. Oh shit! My other part is broken.
You guys have you mentioned CMS a few times. Can you explain what that means?
Yeah, go ahead, Alexander. You're really the best one to explain this one.
Okay, so a CMS is a content management system. It means that it's an application to manage your content. So to enter your data, it can be images, text, but also data that you need to display, to how to display your content, or that you need for other things. So first, there is a monolithic CMSs like the historic one, so WordPress, Drupal, etc. It means that the application to manage the content, so the back office, is tied to the front end, what you see on the screen. Okay, gotcha. So it means that you can display and use the content only in one channel, so your website. So if you have a mobile application or whatever, you need to make another. You cannot have the content in only one place. You need to have it in several places. And if you need to make a change and update, you need to make it in every place. So it's prone to error, it's tedious, well, it's a nightmare. So in the ancient time, it was working, but now everything is omni-channel. So there is a headless CMSs that are API first. So then the application to manage the content is decoupled from the presentation layer, so what we call the head. So it's headless or decoupled, separated. So there are two different entities. And what it means is that then first we can connect any front-end technology. So if you use a certain front-end framework, you can connect it. It's the choice of the user. You are not tied to a technology. That's the first thing, because with WordPress, for example, you are tied with PHP, so you have to develop in a WordPress way. Then you have much more freedom of technology, much more speed also, because this front-end framework are really optimized for speed. So it's also good for SEO because the website is faster. And of course, it solves the omni-channel problem because you have your content in one place, but you can deploy it in any front end you want. So to a mobile application, to Alexa, even you can do things with Alexa. You can display some data in other websites, and your normal website. Of course, you have this data. You can spread it everywhere and make the changes only one time.
Matt,
this is something really important where you have this omni-channel look. So, for example, we have clients that they want to be able to post their content not only into their website in one particular way, but they also want that in their mobile applications for people who are viewing there. Now, normally you can solve this by having a responsive website or something like that. But what if you want that in that actual app? You want to have something in an app that somebody's looking at. This is where the Headless CMS really, really pays off, because all I do is I put my content in this one area, and it's displayed wherever the front end is calling that API. So it really makes it an easy and very quickly deployable type of operation for not only for your individual users, but for your developers as well.
Can you talk a little bit, Matt, about like kind of some of that benefit that would bring? You and I sit on a lot of customer calls together, and people are just looking for more consistency in how things, the user experience, the development on the back end, right? Just kind of less steps to get there. Can you tell us about just kind of where this could have just some immediate benefit for some organizations?
Yeah, so immediate benefit would be, so let's take the example of a blog page. You have someone who is writing a blog page, and you want that displayed on your website. You also want it displayed as a news item or something like that in a mobile application. But also you want it to go out to somewhere else, some other third party system. So because the Headless CMS works on an API system, so anything that can connect to that particular API, connect to that backend, your individual users, all they do is they create their page, or they update their content within the backend system so we'll use StoryBlok as an example, a StoryBlok system, and then that automatically, because the front ends, regardless of what they are, because they're connecting to this back end, they immediately pick that up. So it's one place for your users to update, and then can go out to omni-channel, can go out to anywhere that is connecting into this particular thing, and in a number of different formats. So it just makes a difference on what that front end is. So I can choose that. I choose what that front end is, and the back end is the same each time for our users.
Matt, you alluded to it, so I'll ask Alexandra, can you tell us a little bit about StoryBlok and kind of where StoryBlok fits into this picture?
Yes. First, I come back from something you tell, because I had this question that I was amazed to hear. Somebody that didn't understand the difference between omnichannel and responsive. I say, oh my God, there is people that to be educated, that is just the format of the website, and we are talking about different applications. So that people need information about that too. It's not the same thing. Okay, so StoryBlok is a headless CMS with a special feature, many features, but one that's really make it shine. It's yet a real-time visual editor. It means that you can edit the site live. So in a way, it's really good for developers because it's component-based. So you are creating components that can be infinitely nested one inside another and that are reusable. So you can make a sort of builder. And in the other side, the content team, the marketing team that doesn't code, they receive this component in the visual editor, and they can write, drag and drop, and see immediately on the screen what it will look on the website. And it's not an abstraction of the website, like, for example, WordPress with Gutenberg is the real website, and it works thanks to a JavaScript bridge. So you are really editing the website. And also you can, before publishing, you can save and you can send a preview link to your team to see if they are happy with that. And then even if you publish and you are not happy, you can come back on history and come back to the previous point. So for me, that are the biggest two things among many features. Yeah. It's component-based, so happy developers, and is a visual editor, so happy content teams. They don't have to ask developers to do something. Of course, it's to the team to make a good strategy after analyzing the design and the needs to make the right component architecture and to inform the content team how to use it. But then if it's well done, it's really a joy.
And so this is one of the reasons why Sparkhound partners with StoryBlok for our website development, for our CMS system, because the main criticism for Headless CMS is you're given one piece that doesn't look like anything, and you write your content, you click save, and you kind of don't know where that is. StoryBlok has solved that. They go with the JavaScript bridge. They're able to look at what that layout, what that page is going to be, and give that WYSIWYG kind of thing that you're used to in your other kind of CMS or your other kind of no-code environments. So it allows, as Alexandra said, happy users, happy developers, the best of both worlds.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and we're thrilled to be partnering with StoryBlok here at Sparkhound. I guess in closing, Alexandra, is there any kind of piece of advice you'd give to organizations? What point may be kind of the jump-off point? Like, what might be the kind of critical issue that people may say, you know what, I've had enough of where I am. Like, I have to take a look at StoryBlok.
The content team, if they have to write and don't see what they are doing, even if they have to change page to see what they have done, with the preview, it's tedious, it takes time. So I would say just put StoryBlok in their hands of the content team. Just show them how it works, and they will want to switch, and show to the developers how easy it's to work with components. Because there is Headless CMS that work by page and not by components. So if you work with React, for example, or any front-end worker, you think already as developer, you think in components. You don't think in pages. Mm-hmm. So then the CMS with the component-based work already as you think as developer. So show them.
Sure.
Yeah. So, you do see a jump-off point a lot of times where companies want more. They want something that is not provided by their headless CMS, their traditional CMS or their low-code system. We are actually seeing a lot of movement in the AI space. So we want something that is going to respond to the data that's coming in or something like that. So they want to have that piece, but they also want to have the pages that they do themselves to be able to control that content and their marketing and that kind of thing. So in order to reach out and hit that AI, that API, you need some sort of program. You need a more traditional style website. What the Headless CMS and what StoryBlok gives you is the ability to be able to reach out to these third-party APIs to develop pretty much whatever you want. At the same time, give your users that content area where they are comfortable with updating the everyday content, updating the marketing material. At the same time, connecting out to all these other things. If you have a website that is on a traditional low-code system and you want to move to e-commerce or you want to do business on there, again, excellent spot to jump off into a headless CMS or some other type of system.
Yes, I was just thinking, yes, one thing is with StoryBlok, you can create a no-code application for your content team, but the difference is yourself that you create it, so you can change it, you can do whatever you want. But the content team, the marketing team will have the best no-code application with the advantage that they will have just what they need and not an overwhelming UI with many things that they don't need. So it gives them the perfect no-code applications that is tailor-made for them by the development team.
That's right. Cool. Well, I think we covered a lot here this morning, or this afternoon, for Alexandra. Is there anything else that we didn't touch on, Matt or Alexandra, that you think may be pertinent to today's conversation?
Really, if you have extra questions, you feel free to reach out to Alex or I, Alexandra as well, on the StoryBlok team. We're both here to help you out. Again, we are partners. StoryBlok provides the bed. We provide the knowledge to create what you want. So really, it is a true partnership in that fashion.
Great. Thanks so much, Alexander, for joining us across the sea.
You're welcome.
Matt, thank
It
you
was
very
really
much.
nice.
Appreciate it, you guys. Have a good one.
Thanks.